Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We've had several days of light rain here. As you can see in the background, everything is finally starting to green up, and we can see where it gets dry under the lean-to. Few drops still hitting the tin roof, but it's been a good thing. We were getting dangerously dry, and several areas just to the north of us have been on fire out of control about this past week. So yeah, some moisture was a very welcome thing. But that also means I haven't been able to do any more work on the rock crusher. I do still plan on taking the lever out and the big shaft out of the bottom. And at that point, we'll have an empty casting and I'll get it on some better skids and see about getting it into the red shed. But a channel viewer was talking about these interesting Keystone marks on the castings here, and he gave me a little bit of information. He says, Squatch, I did some fast research on the Keystone trademark. If the letter inside is a U, it is Union Steel Castings, a division of the Blah Knox Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I think that's what we have here. It's fatter on this side than it is over here, but I can't see where that could be anything other than a letter U inside of the Keystone mark. So thanks for that bit of information. It helps to shed some more light on the history of what is an extremely stout casting. But it looks like the skies are beginning to clear this morning, and that's good news because in 3 days I'm hosting Plow Day weekend here at my property, and we are going to do everything here over the hill onto those trees, all down to the west side of the red shed, so everything over to there, plus the backfield way in the background there. And I have a few things to get ready before we get back to the rock crusher. Yesterday we had just enough of a break in the rain for me to come out and pace the fields and establish with flags where the center crown will be for starting. I've got that done on the backfield as well. It looks bigger on camera than it actually is. We have probably 9 acres to do, which will keep me plenty busy on the tail end, getting everything ready to do the final fitting and whatnot. But today I think we should ready some equipment. Plus it's nice to have everything just set to go for when people show up. They can get right to it. There's no standing around waiting or trying to develop a plan. So let's go back to the shed. All right, 2 tractors out of this row I plan to use. Unfortunately, one of them is not the Cat 10. The prior restorer sandblasted this tractor fully assembled and then just painted it. And I've come to find out every compartment is blast full of sandblasting grit. So until I have time to take this one completely back down and clean it out, there it sits. Swamp Angel for sure will be getting run this weekend. I'd like to complete the break-in process on that this year. Iron Mistress, always a good runner, ready to go, except it needs track chains really bad. That's what's sitting in the corner back here. Chains, more chains. All I need is time. One thing I still don't have. So until we get better chains on the Mistress, there she sits. This 1950 5U D2, this is one that I plan to run this weekend. Still kind of feeling this one out, but so far I'm really impressed with it mechanically. And it wants to wet stack a little bit if we don't run it hard enough, but I would like to get a plow or preferably a disc behind it and just get some hours on it. So this guy and Swamp Angel, those are the 2 we'll be readying today. Of course, just start with checking fluids. And yep, good water there. Buzz down, take a look at this one real quick. Neither one of these has ever lost any. So, oh yeah, good on both fronts. Dipsticks next. Now, on these D2s and Caterpillars of this vintage in general, typically what you want to see after they've been sitting for a while is, okay, here's our full mark right where our oil happens to be. You want to see the oil level a good inch above that full mark. That usually means once you start it and everything circulates, it's going to drop and be within your operating range once it's running. And Swamp Angel here is a little bit low, but that's not really a surprise because we're still seeding rings. And I mentioned last fall, after running this for another 3 to 4 hours, I could tell a difference in how well it ran. But I think we're still burning just a little bit of oil. So we'll top this one up and then we'll keep watching it. But I'm hoping after Plow Day settles down and everybody leaves and there's a lot of disking left to be done, I can get a decent amount of hours on this tractor this year. Look at that. I spilled. Oh well. Because, you know, at Plow Day, if you're tied to, you know, just that day, it's a few hours worth of running. And I would like to get at least 50 on the clock on this one. I think we're at about 12 right now. That takes a while. So we'll let that drain down a little bit. Check pony. And pony's good. One thing you want to do, check for gasoline. Sniff test, no gasoline detected. Always want to check that on these starting engines. Always. And another thing too, check these diesels for hints of diesel fuel. Okay, there. That's brought us up to where we want to be. And no hint of diesel in this one. I didn't expect it because we've replaced all of the seals over here that are on the injection pump, the fuel gallery in here. We've got new packing seals in the transfer pump. But on any tractors like the 1950 down here, where we have not had any of that apart, you could have your O-ring seal up here on the fuel galley that feeds all these pumps. That can leak, and then it drains down into the crankcase. Transfer pump could also start leaking, feed the crankcase under worst case scenario. So that's just one thing you really want to be careful of. Let's just pull the stick on this one real quick. Yep, not detecting any diesel, and yep, we're good on the marks. So that one's ready to go. Quick pull right here. Pony's good. Nice clean, no gas. All good to go. Move on to greasing. This is the Alamite volume pump. Highly recommend one of these for these old Caterpillars. And this is 00 semi-fluid grease, extreme pressure in here. I use Shell Gaddis brand that I buy in 5-gallon pails. Works really good. John Deere Cornhead grease is also the same thing, and you can get that in tubes if you want for more convenience. Make sure to really clean all the dirt off of the button head fittings. 2 more down here, upper track roller here. I've already hit most of those. I don't mind admitting I wear gloves for this because this is some very foul smelling stuff, and you get it on you, you got to wear it off. It's some good grease. So after everything's well and clean, this earlier D2 has no seals in this front idler, so you just go based off the pressure. As soon as I start feeling some on the handle, I stop. The track rollers are lip seals as well as the top roller. If this was a later D2 like that 1950 U series over there, we'd have bellows seals in these track rollers, which you really have to be careful not to overpressure the grease, otherwise you'll split them. But as with everything else, I just go until I feel some resistance on that pump handle, and that's good enough. Most of these don't need much anyhow, because I've got all good seals in all this, and they're pretty good at holding. Now we go to the grease gun, and this D2 is kind of unique in that it's an early first generation. So the only way to lubricate the track frame pivot right here is by the grease fitting that's in this hole under the dirt guard. If this was a later tractor, like most D2s, the fitting would be on the cap right here, and it would be the same button head as the rest of the tracks. But this one, just kind of neat, different, early. I don't put too much in here because you can blow the seal that's on the inside. There we are, just till I hear some stuff moving around, and as long as we're in the neighborhood, way in here, There we are, is the fitting for the brake pedal pivot. Give that one just a shot. And now up here, we've got 4 fittings. These bottom 3 are for the steering clutch levers. So we got that outer one, here's the middle, the other outer. All right, and now we have this one at the base of the main clutch lever. Just give that a shot. Not so much that it squeezes out all over everything, but just enough that these all get a little bit. And I think the final pre-check I want to show, and it's just because a lot of people overlook this compartment entirely, and I've mentioned this before, make sure you've got good oil in the injection pump. This one's good. All of my cats are good. The seal usually goes out at the front of the cam, and it all runs again into the crankcase of the diesel engine, and most of those run dry. So that does everything for the pre-checks and the lubrication. I did all the same stuff to the 1950 down there. We can get into fuel now. Quite a few people have been asking questions about fuel, and I've never addressed it. With diesel tanks, I choose to keep them full, or mostly full. We have dipsticks on all of these, and this one is, yeah, I see it, we're just about to the 18-gallon mark, so this one's just about full. And I run a lubricity additive in with the modern diesels, and yeah, that's just best practice for me. It reduces condensation, rust buildup, algae, what have you. Keep the diesel tanks full. Gasoline tanks, though, different story. And I want to tie this in with a viewer question. Looks like W.E. Beck 5 says, 2 questions I've been dying to ask. 1, on your gas engine project rebuilds, what fuel do you run in them after completed? After rebuilding 4 in the last 5 weeks, I always wonder about whether or not these kits can tolerate the ethanol-based fuels well. Personally, I run non-ethanol based. And where engine rebuild kits come into play, do they compensate for the fact that the engine may have originally ran on leaded fuel where the lead can act as a lubricant? For this, I'll bring Senior's Super M into the mix, seeing as how we need to fuel that up. Everything we have that has a gasoline tank, this tractor, that tractor, and every starting engine tank along that wall, all get drained completely dry if they are going to be parked for 6 months or more, which is an average winter duration for us. See, nothing in the Super M tank at all. Now, I don't know why I did that. There's no gas on it. Habit. All of the gasoline we buy in cans, we treat with Sta-Bil fuel stabilizer. We've had excellent luck with that. It keeps it good for 1 to 2 years, easily. And open that vent a little bit more here. There we are. So everything else, all of our small engines, lawnmowers, or gasoline tractors, we buy just 91 octane pump gas. In our state, that's about the best that you can get for low ethanol content. There's still a little bit of a blend because they've decided that we need it. Okay, grumble. But the Super M is the sole exception. On 91 octane pump gas, when we would shut it down after working it, even if we leave it to idle for a while to cool, it would still want to kind of auto-ignite as the engine was spooling down. You'd get a pop and another pop and another pop. And we were never able to figure out why until we changed to regular 87 octane pump gas. And this thing will run happily on 87 regular. And it doesn't auto-ignite, shuts down like it should. Sounds good, runs well, and that's what this is I'm dumping in right here. It's just 87 octane, been treated with Sta-Bil. We may run the Super M out of fuel this weekend, or we may not, I don't know. So in case we don't, it's treated for the long haul. Now, I've never ran a lead substitute, and I've never had trouble with the newer engine rebuild kits running on the modern gasolines. I do have hardened exhaust seats put under every exhaust valve anytime I have a cylinder head redone. That's going to help with the newer fuels, newer gasolines, and higher combustion temps and all that other stuff. But valve seals, none of these engines run valve seals, and I've never had any kind of a sticking valve problem or valve stem wear. That's where the lead would lubricate in years prior. It seems like with no valve stem seals, everything receives adequate lubrication anyhow. So there's 5 gallons in the Super M. As thirsty as this old girl is, that might run us for 4 hours, maybe 3 if we're working it. It gets a little bit thirsty, but that's kind of the whole deal on the gas. I think the last thing I wanted to talk about was that we always pull the batteries out of all the machines that are going to sit over the winter as well. And we store the batteries in the shop where it never gets below freezing, because batteries don't like cold. And since we've started doing that, all of our batteries last years longer than they used to. It's a little bit more hassle at the end of the year, and then come spring, when it's time to get everything going again, but it's worth it. Here's one thing I decided to upgrade for senior. It's been a few years and the silver high temp paint is starting to give up on the old Stanley replacement muffler, which is about on par. Okay, so there's that one. Yeah, I ended up replacing it with, wow, one of, oh boy, I'm gonna get that all black if I use that glove. All right, one of the factory repro mufflers has the IH logo in it. Ever since I put one of these on my H, I have just loved the sound that comes out of these. So I think the rain cap will transfer over too for now. Let's just see how it sounds when it starts up. Gas is on. Okay, give it a little choke, a little bit of throttle. Ignition, see if it wakes up. Well, we've got 3 units field ready. We have the 1950 5U D2, old Swamp Angel right here, and now the Super M. And that'll be enough to keep me plenty busy, considering I can't drive more than one at a time anyhow. I still need to grease up a few implements to go behind them. That's no big deal. We won't cover that here. But in case a couple people want a machine to hop on, we should have everything set and ready. And one of the ironies about hosting Plow Day is I usually end up with the least amount of seat time out of everyone here. There's plenty to keep me busy. I'm always welcoming people as they show up, assisting in parking, letting them know field layout, what the plowing plan is, if people need a clevis or a drawbar pin, or I'm bouncing around here, there, and everywhere, and then add in running the camera. And I pretty much don't spend any time in a seat. I think the majority of my operating time is going to happen after everybody leaves in the following days, just making circles with the disc, trying to fit everything out. But before we wrap the episode, I still need to get to the second question that W.E. Beck had. Going back to the cats, he says, I don't believe that in any Caterpillar video I have ever watched, anyone has ever presented the hour/service meter reading. I ask that because I will be attempting to revive a D2 with 8,000 hours and a 55 D6 with 1,357 hours. Neither have been run for 30 years as best as I can tell. Based on wear and tear, I'm guessing both are accurate hours. Are these meters reliable or resettable, or does it really not matter and just depends on how well they were ran or maintained over the years? So, quick rundown on these service meters. They are more to track maintenance hours rather than actual clock hours, but they are gear driven off of the camshaft in the injection pump, and they are most accurate to the clock at 3/4 maximum engine rated speed on the diesel. That is where Caterpillar assumed that the majority of the runtime would happen on these tractors. This one I have never been into, and I don't know if it still works or not. They are known for just up and quitting. This one, okay, we got a 0 over there. We read 3,568 hours. I'll have to keep an eye on that, see if it's actually doing anything. I have rebuilt the one on the Iron Mistress, and it is at, you probably won't see it, but we are looking at 102 right now, 102. I also rebuilt the one on Swamp Angel, and it's probably gonna be too dark for this one as well. I mistakenly said about 12 hours earlier. I see we're transitioning from 15 to 16 hours right now, and I reset both of these here and here to 0 when I finished the restorations. That one is still at whatever it was reading when I got it. So they do often quit. So just because an unknown to you machine says a certain amount of hours doesn't always mean that it's entirely accurate and may have ran for the last 30 years at that reading. So they are resettable and they are rebuildable, and go in once again, the D2 5J1113 diesel engine rebuild playlist is where I have the full episode showing how to disassemble, restore, reassemble, and reset these mechanical drive hour meters on the D2s. So I think that's probably the nutshell version of it. Going back and watching the episode will explain all of it much better than I can do verbally right here. So I thank everyone for watching. Been a busy day, lots of small little errands to run and little items ticked off the list, but I think we're just about ready for Plow Day. I have to get the truck and the trailer out of here, set up some tables. There'll be some food and whatnot for the guests that show up, and 3 days time we'll be out there rolling sod. So hope you all come back to watch that. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time.